Hello guys, so today in this video we will be discussing about the strategy for cracking the Coal India Limited Legal Management Training exam. As you all know, after 2017, it was in 2022 when the post for the Legal Management Trainee were notified by Coal India Limited, and looking with the vacancies that may be created due to the lot of students being selected for the judicial services also, and some of them may be leaving in chance so future vacancy may arise. So in that cases, if we want to get selection, so what are the certain points that we must keep in mind and how we must prepare for this exam? So in this video basically I'll be providing certain strategies as I am myself been selected for the post of management trainee legal in Coal India Limited. So this is about me. I have been selected as a management trainee legal in Coal India, and apart from that I'd also cleared the written examination for the legal trainee of Shipping Corporation of India, and these were my ranks at the various LLM entrance examinations. So moving ahead with the main topic of the day regarding the Coal India Limited recruitment. As you all know, Coal India is a Maharatna company. Till now, India has around 11 Maharatnas, out of which Coal India is a government of India undertaking and is one of the Maharatna company. So it's a Schedule A Maharatna company, and you all know its headquarter basically is in Kolkata, and it has around 8 subsidiaries, and it accounts for the 83% of the total coal production in India. So this is a general understanding about Coal India, and for having a more information regarding Coal India, you can visit Coal India website and go to the About Us page. Now coming to the further things, so these are the 8 subsidiaries that are covered under the Coal India. So they have ECL, that is in Asansol, Bengal. There is BCCL, which is in Dhanbad. We have CCL, that is in Ranchi. We have WCL in Nagpur. We have SECL in Bilaspur. We have NCL in Singrauli. We have MCL in Sambalpur, Odisha, and we have CMPDIL, which is also in Ranchi. So these are the subsidiaries that comes under Coal India. These subsidiaries are the 100% undertaking of the Coal India Limited only. So these are the areas where you will be posted once you're selected, because not everyone is selected for the placement in headquarters. So these are the subsidiaries where you can be allotted for the posting. Now coming to the examination fee and the age limit for the same. So generally the exam is placed at a cost of 1180 rupees, and there is also upper age limits on the following point. There is 30 years age limit, and also there's a similar relaxations for the various categories. The relaxations are given respectively. Moving ahead with the minimum eligibility, now you all know in any examinations of legal field which we give, generally there is a requirement for our LLB degrees, and LLB you all know is a 3 years option or is a 5 year integrated option. So for Coal India, basically they are required as a graduate in law for 3 years or 5 years duration, and you must have minimum 60% marks. So the major shortcoming with this CIL exam, I personally believe, is first of all that exam is not conducted regularly, and if you go through it, it's a 5 year gap when this exam was conducted, and also it's not purely limited to the legal field, because a paper pattern is about 200 marks, and 100 marks come with the domain knowledge of law, and 100 marks is divided into 4 segments, that is 25 each, which basically covers your English, GK, logical, and reasoning. So it's not 100% wholly dominated by law. So you have to have a holistic understanding also, as well as a sharp acumen, I believe, because many of us and many of my friends also couldn't make it into the Coal India because they were not well versed with the maths and certain reasoning tricks. So I believe that for cracking this exam along with the law, you also need to have a understanding, and I'll say a stronger approach on maths and reasoning, because the English and reasoning to some extent is done by all, but GK and this portion which is the maths, you need to go through the tricks and certain facts. So because of this, there's a lot of people who miss this, because maths and GK play a very dominating role in this exam also. So these were the basic short idea regarding the minimum eligibility, and the time duration also for the paper is enough. That's 2 hour paper is there. And if we look at the paper scheme that was in the 2022, the paper relating to the law was relatively easy. However, the GK portion, as I said earlier also, it has to be given due consideration, and law subjects generally are not provided in the notification, because this notification is there is no syllabus what you have to study and not, you have to rely on the previous data available for the papers which have been conducted in the past. So these were the vacancies also in legal. There were total 54 vacancies, out of which 21 for general, there were 14 for OBCs, and the rest categories wise they were respectively. Now moving ahead with the CIL exam legal pattern. So as I told you, it's a 200 marks paper comprising of paper 1 and paper 2 of 100 marks each, while paper 1 consists of GK, reasoning, maths and general English, out of which there will be 25 marks allocation for each, and the paper 2 will comprise of law, that will be your domain subject, and every question carries 1 marks and there is no penalty. So you are in a tendency to give I'll say not a tendency, but you'll be in a position to answer all your questions. So first of all, for having a selection, you must answer all of the questions. Sometimes even your guesses might work and may give you an edge over the other people. So don't leave any question first of all when you are appearing for CIL exam in the future. And now coming to the what is the basic requirement regarding this CBT, because it's a computer based test and it's not an OMR based. So you have to be very careful also. In OMR also we make mistake, but sometimes while clicking the answer we have a tendency that we miss due to a reading error which we make. We are planning to click B but we click C option, so in this way we'll miss our chance of selection. So once we need to be careful on these also. And the question paper shall be a bilingual, that is English and Hindi, depending on the language which you will choose. So this is a proper, first to make it clear, it's a computer based test also, and there's a minimum level of qualification marks also, like for general minimum 40 marks in each paper, and for OBC 35, for SC ST PWD 30 marks. Now coming to selection process, once your this process is done, as in the 2022 notification it was clearly mentioned that there will be no means. So this was a paper which only had a prelims level this exam which was done, that is CBT, and after that there was direct documents verification and medical examination. There was no means in middle, so we have to not appear for any other written examination or subjective one. And the candidates as mentioned in the notification were mentioned for the 1:3 ratio. However, they selected in 1:1 only. So that depends on their discretion. So this was a selection process thing, because and see, this thing makes it a very good exam, because sometimes many students have a fear that how they will tackle means, but in this exam there was only prelims and then your medical and documents. So it gives you a more chance of preparation also. It makes you more worthy for the job, because there is no means and there is no process of interview also as such. So it gives you an easy hand if you are well versed with the subjects and you have a clarity on it. Now going ahead with the what are the pay structures, and so you all know that PSUs offer you a good package as respect to the work which you are hired for, because in PSUs is not much load of the work but you are paid handsomely for the same. And when you're selected for the Coal India also, you will be during the training time will place in E2 grade, which has a basic pay of 50,000 rupees per month. There will be other allowances also, like cafeteria approach 35% of your basic, certain DAs also. And once your 1 year is completed, then you will be promoted to E3 grade with your basic of 60,000 rupees. Apart from that, there will be other certain facilities which will be granted to you regarding the performance related pay, and there will be leaves, medical facilities also. Your salary, a certain portion will be deducted for CMPF, CMPS, and certain there are certain pension schemes also, and the taxes amount will be also deducted. So going to this, there's a gross amount of around, in first year, that is a turning period, will be sort of getting a gross amount of 85,000, but the in hand amount which you will be receiving will be around 60 to 62,000 rupees. Now coming to the posting may be placed in any of the 8 subsidiaries area which I have told you earlier, and one need to be willing to serve in any of the areas allotted, because they generally ask you the preferences, but the preferences are given not indirect, they are given indirect consideration, because it is subject to your merit as well as the availability of seats in that particular region. Also, it there's a three this 5 years of bond of 3 lakh rupees, and every month 5,000 rupees will be deducted from your salary because of the bond thing. So now coming to the what is the syllabus for this CIL exam. See, pertainly there is no direct notification for CIL. Going to the past year papers as well as the 2022 paper I have given, these were the certain acts which were given due consideration by Coal India, and there were questions pertaining to these acts which I believe you should study. And I don't say you have to go very exhaustively with the provisions, learning all the sections or all the subsections. So you have to be very I'll say you need to do an index reading also, and of certain provisions only you need to have a clear idea. See, for in this act this paper we have seen the relevance of these acts like arbitration, registration, CPC, CRPC, SOGA, Companies Act, IPC, Consti, Contract, Evidence, SRA, Limitation. There were certain 5 to 6, or I'll say not more than 10 questions regarding the labor law. There was TPA, Court Fees Act, NIA, and some aspect of Registration Act was also seen. So now coming to these acts, see, one cannot be supposedly to be well acquainted with the all ideas. First of all, those students who are preparing for judiciary, they also have a good upper hand over those candidates who will be appearing for this exam, because judiciary candidates have a well knowledge of the core laws. So coming to the other subjects, see, one should be very cautious if you have the previous year paper of Coal India, and if you don't, you can contact me on my LinkedIn or any page which I'll be mentioning you before. So you can contact me, I'll provide you this. And even on YouTube also you can see there are a lot of question papers uploaded regarding the 2016, 2017 and the 2022. So you can go through them also, and you can just see the analysis of the questions. See, this time also in 2022 there were questions from contracts, there were questions from CPC, CRPC also. There were very direct questions from CPC, like what is section 88, what is section 89, what is foreign judgment decree. So very direct questions. Similarly in the case of CRPC, however, if you go with the certain aspects of labor law, because many people don't study labor law in judiciary also, and not other aspects, because labor law is only studied by the students those who have special interest in that, or they're appearing for any exam where labor law is a requirement. So you have to be very cautious, because you should not invest much of your time in studying labor laws and these ancillary laws like of Companies Act, I believe, because there might be questions, 3 to 5 questions, but if you are well versed with other subjects, then you can leave those subjects, because it is not a paper which tests your basic knowledge. It is an entrance exam. You have to crack it to get your job. You don't have to do mastery in these subjects. So believe in yourself, have a holistic understanding, but with due caution, not going through entire details. Be cautious which provisions, because once you will start studying any to get an idea about how to study. And first I'll say try to have a clear understanding of index, then going to the provisions, because many of the questions from the court fees, registration, IPC also are direct index based questions. And there must also be certain understanding on case laws, because there are certain questions pertaining to case laws also. So this exam basically is a not particularly favoring any student much in detail, but yeah, I'll say judiciary candidates are in a certain edge in this particular exam to those candidates who are not preparing for judiciary, because certain subjects, around 5 to 6 subjects, the judiciary candidates are thorough with their provisions as well as sections. So you need to go through these subjects. You do not too much delve into labor laws, court fees, registration. Merely sections are enough. In my case also, for the SRA and limitation, I'm very thankful to these two acts, because they ensured my selection, because I have not studied these acts in much detail, but I went to the provisions, seeing certain YouTube videos also, and certain my time devoting my time for the index portion, and there were direct questions from the sections which paved around 5 to 10 questions, and which is a reason for my selection also. So you have to be very careful and not ignore these acts which are short and crisp. So just go through them. Now moving ahead with the other points also which you need to keep in mind. See, for Coal India, once the notification is there and dates, you should not waste your time for dates calculation. Start your preparation going through this, and I believe 2 to 3 months time is enough, because there's not much reading of your bare act that you have to do, like you're studying every explanation, every exceptions. So you have to be very not devoting your time in studying 12 to 14 hours, or I guess 6 to 8 hours of study daily with a certain clarity on those provisions which you are studying is enough. And also, if you're preparing for CLAT or judiciary, then you should surely give this exam, because, and for here CLAT, basically I'm referring CLAT PG. So this exam is surely for you, because you will be studying these laws. Because if you look at the syllabus, even arbitration and certain acts which are there in these, I told you the syllabus thing, so they are common in the CLAT also. The questions are there in CLAT. In even the SRA limitation, there are certain judicial exams like Delhi and other exam states which offer these subjects as syllabus part. So you have to go through those subjects, and if you're preparing for these judicial or CLAT exam, you must give this exam, because you will have a backup option while preparing for judiciary also. And so, as I said, certain acts require only superficial reading, as questions are based on index. There are generally direct based section questions, and major laws you should have a clear understanding on them, because it takes certain time to develop. And once you have an understanding on major laws, this surely help in every exam you give. Being a law student, I believe certain subjects are there in which you must have clarity, like constitution, IPC, contracts. These are being constitution being a grand norm. You can't miss the provisions, because the mostly provisions from constitution are very direct provisions, like fundamental rights, TPSP, inter-state relations. Many lesser times only ancillary or not that relevant provisions are asked. And also there are a lot of important case laws in constitution also which you should go through. As I said also earlier, that you cannot be supposed to master all subjects, so you must be very careful and precising your time to study only the relevant part. You have to filter the portion that you have to study. You can practice more and more MCQs from any of the books. You can refer, for example, single or OP Tripathi, Samarth Agrawal, etc. books come for judicial examinations, which is a compilation of these MCQs. And apart from that, I'll say you will see in question paper a lot of questions which you will not be able to answer, but just don't get perturbed by them, because if you have a good preparation and good devotion of your time for this exam, then surely if you are not able to know the answer, I can tell you many of others also sitting in that exam hall will be not aware with those answers, because not everyone comes with 100% preparation. So questions basically are targeted on relevant section, and these are the one-sided sections only. So just go through them. Don't try to be going to the haywire sections. If you don't able to understand any section, just read the index and move on. So coming to the end game, what should be the last strategy before the examinations? Also a quick revision of those subjects. The main subjects are there, because once you're done with SRA limitation, don't try to go to the entire schedule which is there which deals with the articles. You have to be very precise. Like you have a general idea, like for immovable property there are generally 12-year period. Only there are certain exceptions where there are 30-year periods, or like those periods are there for like debts and all, contracts matter 3 years, etc. You have a general understanding. It's very easy. Then try to practice as much PYQs you can go through. Try to learn from your mistakes. And for basically one thing I'll try to say to you, go through past papers and please have certain maths practice. Try to analyze maths questions, and if you don't have, you can refer to any coachings or any platforms which provides basically you access to those practice mocks or any other things, because there are certain questions based on number systems, and there are certain tricks also. Many people forget the formulas for SIs and the simple interest, compound interest, and the mensuration thing. So basically I'll have an idea if you go with certain idea with the formulas, with the understanding, because maths is a direct question which will give you an edge, because people either will know it the answer or don't. Similarly for the case of GK, in logical there's a chance to deduce, and even you can't be sure of the answer. It could be a CR or any passage based puzzle, because sometimes DI questions or certain logical reasoning question also pose a often confusion to us. So try to have a short this advantage on paper 1 also, because paper 2, if any, all you all are equal in the field if everyone has studied equally. So this paper 1 will make you an will give you an upper hand. So just go through it, and since there's no negative marking in this exam particularly, so you should not be hesitating. You should attempt all the questions and try to have a good score, because generally this year also the probable cutoff was around 160 for general and around 150 plus for OBC. So this was a tentative cutoffs which were assessed, and the candidates who have secured, it was also seen from some of my friends who have scored 160 plus. Also I contacted them, they were being general students, so this way we have got an understanding regarding the cutoff also. So this is a profile about me which was relevant. I thought relevant for the people who will be going through the Coal India Legal Management Training exam, because there is no much video which pertains to the management trainee, how one should devote time and how much study, the filter the subjects. So I believe this video of mine will surely help the legal management trainees who will be looking for this video in future. And you can contact me on my LinkedIn. You can search Aniket Sachan. You can find my photo also. This is my email ID, aniket.sachan10@gmail.com, and I have a YouTube channel in which you'll be seeing this video. You can just follow, comment on anything which you want to ask. So thank you guys. I hope this video will prove fruitful to you, and please share and keep subscribing. Thank you.